Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ryde Aquatic Centre on this stormy Saturday afternoon for the men's third grade grand final. My name is Nick Watkins. I'm going to be your solo commentator for today's match. But first we're going to do the live announcements using the secondary mic, so bear with me. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ryde Aquatic Centre on this stormy Saturday afternoon for the gold medal match of the Water Polo New South Wales Metropolitan men's third grade competition. Sydney University Lions versus Balmain Tigers. For Balmain, Cap 1, James Clark. Cap 2, Ian Calpin. Number 3, Nick Godfrey. Number 4, James Falzon. Number 5, Stephen Smith. Number 6, Chris Grono. Number 7, Matthew Saville. Number 8, Alex Sutton. Number 9, Joel Davis. Number 10, Gavin Woods. Number 11, Ton Whalenkamp. Number 12, Connor Martin. Number 13, Luke Spitty. And for Sydney University, number 1, Asher Chui. Number 2, Brad Karsk. Number 3, Thomas Whalen. Number 4, Hamilton Ward. Number 5, Alistair Vish. Number 6, Scott Nicholson. Number 7, James Young. Number 8, Ben Turner. Number 9, Flynn Vish. Number 10, Reef Potter. Number 11, Noah Hale. Number 12, Russell Yarn. Number 13, Phoenix Irvin. Thank you, gents. Take the pool. And for our loyal viewers online and at home, thank you very much for your patience. It's tough driving two microphones at once. Players are just shaking hands and we'll take the pool momentarily and we'll be back underway as we start the first quarter. Okay, water polo fans, we're just about to get underway here for the gold medal match for Water Polo New South Wales men's third grade competition. Sydney University Lions versus Balmain Tigers. And I'll tell you what, if you've got young players at home, this is going to be one to get them to watch. Plenty of experience on both sides. More Australian caps than the beach in late January. And several multi-time Olympians, most notably Gavin Woods 4 times for Balmain and Thomas Whalen 4 times for Sydney University. So plenty of experience, and I think we're going to see some nice controlled water polo here as Sydney University wins the swim-off. Joel Davis playing centre-back for Balmain at the moment, marking up against Reef Potter in at centre forward. Joel Davis is a big man. It's a bold move taking him to centre back early. So they've sent in a second centre forward. Valley Vish forcing a shot from out top and fortunate to get the rebound. Moves it deep wing. And that's shot off the cage as well. Former Australian Shark and Olympian James Clark. It's going to be pretty hard to beat, and that's why Sydney University forcing that shot off the hand early. See what Balmain can do. Nick Godfrey at centre forward. He's going to be quite a handful himself, let alone when Gavin Woods gets on board. Matt Saville tries to throw a long cross pass there to James Falzon, but a little bit too high. So Falzon looking to switch it back across to Connor Davis. Oh, Connor Martin, apologies. Connor Martin sits up, and it's a good block there from number 9, Flynn Vish for Sydney Uni. So a few shots traded by both teams early on in this first quarter, but no damage done. And plenty of room for the centre forward now, Sydney University. It's Reef Potter, tries to throw a backhand, but he'd been pushed out to probably the 3.5, 4 metres there, and it's going to be a big ask to get a backhand past James Clark in goals. Joel Davis throws the ball into Godfrey, but heavy foul over the top against Scott Nicholson. Scott Nicholson caught behind, and he's sent to the naughty corner for his troubles. Ball down on the deep wing to Saville. Saville out top to Martin. Martin out the top now to Calpin. Calpin looking to take it in. Balmain offsetting well. Martin sits out from the side. It's a lovely goal there. He looked to play Godfrey, who was popping on the post, and suckered all of the defence in. Manages to squeeze that past Choi in goals. And so Balmain will deal the first blow. 1-0. This Balmain team's definitely the one to watch today. They've been pretty solid in the competition for the last 4 years, and with James Clark in goals, it is a really big ask of most attacking players. Sydney Uni without Jeremy Davey today. Jeremy, if you're watching, congratulations on the new bub. Most of your team said it was a pretty poor excuse not to come to the finals, but I'll tell you what, mate, I think it's a pretty good one. I hope Mum's doing well. But without Jeremy, one of their highest goal scorers, being able to put some damage on the board against this Balmain Tigers team is going to be a challenge, and the exclusion awarded there, number 11, Noah Hale for Sydney University. And so Balmain will get another attack. Saville taking it down on the deep wing. That's number 1 position. And what should never have been a shot. That's Saville squeezing it past Ben Turner. Ben's no slouch. He's been an Australian junior himself, and getting caught slightly out of position there. And I'd like to see Asher Choi, the young goalkeeper for the Lions, getting up his defenders a little bit. That's not good blocking, and when you're a 6-on-5 defence, you really need to make sure you're blocking down the line. So Tigers bite for the second time. It's 2-0. Reef Potter sitting up against Connor Martin at centre back. And he's been pushed out to about the 4 metres there, so forced shot from outside. Number 9, Flynn Vish, hits the crossbar, so did manage to beat Clark in goals, but the bounce comes out in favour of the Tigers, and so they'll push up the pool again. Ball out top with Davis. Davis over to Martin. Martin looking for Gavin Woods. There he is, he turns. Throws it slightly over the top, does Woods. 4-time Australian Olympian, and he's been playing men's third grade for at least the last 906 years. Lots of experience there, and very handy to have in the middle of the pool. There's the ball out top, Noah Hale. Hale back down to Phoenix Irvin, back to Hale. No centre forward at the moment, so Sydney Uni a little bit out of position. That was a quick attempted shot by Ali Vish. He'd come in from the wing playing that second centre forward. This Balmain Tigers team, with a few exceptions, would be pretty comfortable packing a scrum for the All Blacks. There's a fair bit of weight behind them, and so you think that Sydney University are going to have to move a bit more in attack as Lions forced to zone back on Gavin Woods now. Plenty of space out top, and Ian Calpin, lovely cross-cage shot for the right-hander on the right wing. It's not usually the spot you want to see your players shooting from. Right-handers on the right wing typically take down the angle, and if anything, you want them to come around a little bit, or for that to be a lefty. But Calpin, he's been around the tracks, he's experienced, composed, and he manages to get that cross-cage past Choi as the Tigers go 3-0 up. Good position here from the centre forward, young Reef Potter, but pass far too close, and it's able to be tapped out by Davis's long arms, and there was a crash back zone from Martin anyway, so probably needed to move back out around the top, and that's a good learning opportunity for these young University Lions. Calpin out top. Big long cross pass over the top to Stephen Smith. Smith back out to Martin. Looking for Woods, gets it in early, but unfortunately for Woods, finds the fingertips and bounces back out. Regathered by Cask. Cask moves it up the right side of the field to Irvin. So University doing pretty well to get their structure set up. They're just not able to find much happening at centre forward. It's a combination of big bodies at the back and a slight zone defence. A little bit of a slippery ball falls into the hands there of James Falzon. So Clark able to move it up to the deep wing to Calpin. Call not rewarded there. That was Falzon in. From this angle, it certainly looked like they had a hand on him, but referee saying that the pass wasn't good enough and they're not rewarding it. And so Sydney University able to push up now. Ball's deep wing with Irvin. Irvine looking for someone. Offensive turnover called here. I believe that they had number 10, Reef Potter for Sydney University, going underwater to create an advantage. New interpretation of the World Aquatics rules says you can't do that anymore. And as a result, Connor Martin gets what is a rare counter-attack for the big man. And with that front water, he's able to convert. It's the fourth unanswered goal for Balmain Tigers, and it shows what an absolute devastating force they can be. And trust me on this, Sydney University are no slouches here. They've got plenty of experience, supported by a couple of young bodies, but at the moment, size and strength proving a little bit too much. Sydney Uni unable to do much damage at centre forward, and as a result, the rest of the attack's breaking down. We'll see what Ali Vish here can do for Scott Nicholson. Scott Nicholson sitting centre forward. And the 5 metre awarded, that goes against Davis, number 9 for Balmain. So great awareness there. Ali Vish, Scott Nicholson. And Scott Nicholson will sit up against James Clark. Hits the posts. They've had a good rivalry for the better part of 20 years, Nicholson and Clark. And this time Clark puts another one on his tally, and he'll probably let Scotty know about that later on. As the ball moves out here. Sutton to Davis out top, winds up, hits the crossbar again, back out to Sutton. There's a bit of whitewash going on in the middle with Godfrey, but he's sent to the bottom. Thomas Whalen using his experience there to get all over Godfrey, like a barnacle on a boat. And now Godfrey's left in the back play, and if University can capitalise on this, they do have a break, but slightly slow to release and slightly short ball means it breaks down a little bit. Ben Turner sits up, cross pass to Scott Nicholson. It was the right play, it was well executed, hits the tip of Nicholson's fingers and he loses control. There's 3 seconds left, so he'll have to take this. And that lob didn't even go over the crossbar. Nicholson shakes his head at himself. And Clark, applying for the Australian wicket-keeper role, catches that one with 2 hands quite cleanly. And moves the ball up to Calpin. We've got Godfrey at centre forward and he's holding aside pretty well here. James Young, apologies, that's Matt Saville looking to release but doesn't need to. But Godfrey called for holding Whalen there. And so Whalen comes out on top. That's 2 wins for him in 2 attacks against Godfrey. And you wonder if they might try and mix this up a little bit. Oh, a booming outside shot from Reef Potter there. That was pretty nice. It managed to beat Clark again but found the post. There's only 1 second left on the clock. So with that, you'd anticipate Sydney University will either shoot from the wing or try and flood the centre forward. No one's moving there just yet, so maybe a little bit unaware of the clock. They do try and play Nicholson with the pull on, but he's got Calpin and Sutton sitting on him and it goes nowhere. So the end of the first quarter, Balmain Tigers looking very much in control here, 4 goals up to 0. And we've mentioned a couple times, a large part of that is stemming from the fact that Sydney Uni is struggling to get much happening at centre forward. As we mentioned earlier, Jeremy Davies probably playing their usual centre, out celebrating the birth of his firstborn. And as a result, Sydney University putting some people in that wouldn't usually play that position, or if they do, they might not be playing against the calibre of centre-backs that Balmain has to offer. Plenty of big bodies in there. So Whalen's having a word with his troops now in the Lions corner. And we anticipate that he'll be asking for a lot more movement around the perimeter. When they have been able to move the ball, they've opened up a couple of nice cross passes, one from Turner to Nicholson, but found the fingertips and went astray. And there was another one there from Vish to Nicholson. So when they do move the ball and they get free, more things happen, but probably expect a few more drives to open up that baseline opportunity. Balmain don't really need to change much. They've been very much in control, patient in attack, and even when they're taking 50-50 shots, they're well covered. Sydney University do have a number of young guns on their bench, and they look fast, they look fit. And speaking to Nick Godfrey before the game, he assured me he does not want to be swimming. So if they can get a bit of a mismatch and get these young Sydney Uni Lions swimming against some of the bigger bodies for Balmain, you might start to see that deficit be reduced. Referees have blown the whistle. We're just about to get underway for the second quarter of this men's third grade competition. Plenty of experience in both teams and plenty of water polo happening around Sydney this weekend. We had the Super League quarterfinals last night, the semi-finals today, and the grand finals will be tomorrow. Second and third grade gold medals for both men's and women's being played as well. So plenty of polo, and plenty of polo coming in to Australia over the next year. We're fortunate enough to host the World Championships. So if you think Super League's good, if you think AWL is good, wait till you get some of the best teams from around the world out here in 2027. Tickets do go on sale in April, so keep an eye out on the Water Polo Australia socials and websites. But until then, you're blessed with two talented teams here in third grade. Probably would be competitive with a good half of the existing AWL teams, as Sydney University wins that swim off again, unsurprisingly. Ball out top with Nicholson, waiting for the centre forward. You've got Calpin at centre back there, absolutely dominating number 9 for Uni, young Vish, so he has to move to the side. Nicholson looking to take in Falzon now. And Ali Vish testing his luck from outside, does find the top of the cross cage, bounces out. So Jimmy Clark takes 3 laborious strokes, probably the most swimming he's done in a number of years, picks up the ball, feeds it up the right wing to Saville. Saville back out top to Calpin. Looking for Woods at centre forward, but Nicholson's forced to zone. With him too is young Vish. Calpin down the side to Stephen Smith. Back out top to Saville. He's scored another lovely one there. He's got a cheeky one down Turner from the one position before. And he's managed to put that one top corner. As Matt Saville. Another player that's been around the traps, had a good number of years off, and nice to see him back in the pool. So Thomas Whalen now settling, waiting for a centre forward to get set. Calpin at centre back for Balmain doing a pretty good job. Connor Martin playing zone defence, and now there's no front water and no centre forward for Sydney University. 8 seconds left. Test their luck. Another crossbar. I'm not sure if these are actually getting past Clark or if he just knows he doesn't have to go to them. But it's regathered by Uni. This is Flynn Vish, plays top. Out to Whalen. Whalen looking for Nicholson. Nicholson's going to have the advantage here against Saville. He's a bit bigger, a bit stronger. Whalen looking to play the drive. That's probably an exclusion. Yeah, that was going to happen every day. And James Falzon nods to the referee. He knew it. 2 hands all over the driver. And that's exactly what we said at quarter time. For Uni to be able to move this big Balmain defence, they're going to have to drive. The drive they do. Slightly loose pass there over to Russell Yarn. But manages to get a good pass across the face of the goals. Ali Vish earns the 5 metre. And Nicholson missed the one previously, so they're going to get young Flynn Vish the opportunity to step up. As Nicholson struggles to the sideline, he's lost his cap, he's breathing like the big bad wolf, So might be a few subs if this is a goal. And importantly, opportunity to get Uni on the board for the first time today. James Clark being a little bit of a cheeky man, sitting well outside of the goal line. The rules have changed since he was in the Australian colours, and if he does it once more, he'll be carded. And that's why he's an Australian Olympian. Manages to catch the ball, upper edge of his arm, ricochet off the cage, and he still regathers it. So Sydney University still remains scoreless as the ball's out top with Saville. Saville moves it around to Martin, Martin back to Saville. They're looking for Woods at centre forward. University forced to play a zone. So Balmain throws the drive. Stephen Smith shot off the hand. But good save there by Troy. He's had a big ask of himself so far. And so it was nice that he was able to pull that one down, give the young player a bit of confidence as Martin sends Yarn to the bottom of the pool. Thomas Whalen looking to drive a second centre forward, but he's crowded the middle, and wayward pass, I think, from Nicholson there, gives it straight to Calpin. Unsure if Nicholson thought there was an extra drive happening from Vish on the wing, or got a little bit confused. Balmain are playing in yellow, so maybe thought it was his usual training cut at Sydney Uni. Martin over the top of Calpin. Woods is in at centre forward, so they're playing a drop. Calpin's relatively pressed, passes it back to Martin. Martin's got a big weight advantage here against Yarn if he able to turn him, but kicks back out. There's 3 seconds left. It's a really big, long pass over the top. Sutton, but poor angle for the right-hander. Now Uni able to push up the field. You can see the structure breaking down a little bit for Uni here. They don't have anyone inside the 2 metres. Yarn did a release for the ball, but there was no one up there as well. Now Ben Turner gets himself in position. Thomas Whalen looking to sit in. Turner shoots off the hand. Whalen gestures to Turner. He wanted it. He was in good position. Whalen had managed to roll ball side, which means that he was facing his teammate who had the ball and had a defender caught behind him. So was ideally looking for a pass from Turner on the water, possibly earn an exclusion. Didn't happen. Now the whistle's been blown. I believe it was a 5 metre, possibly for an illegal substitution. They're calling that on number 10 for Balmain, which is Gavin Woods, if that's the case. Can't quite see him. Oh, okay, so Gavin Woods is now on the bench. It looks like it was an illegal substitution. And so Sydney University will receive their 3rd penalty shot for the day, and so far they haven't scored any. James Clark coming off the goal line slightly here. We're testing the patience a little bit with Ali Vish. The referee's calling for the ball. Not quite sure what's happening at the moment. A bit of conversation with the Balmain bench. It looks like they didn't have all 6 players on, and because it was a 5 metre from an illegal substitution, there's no one in the penalty box. So an extra Tiger joins the field, and Ali Vish steps up once again. Once again, too easy for James Clark. He gives Vish a smile. It was a bit of a halfway shot. You're going to have to do a lot better than that to get past Clark. Balmain back out Smith. Smith out top. They've got Godfrey in the centre forward, so Smith drives through to clear it out, but there's been a drive from the far side as well. Falzon clogging up the middle a little bit. So the ball's moved back out to Sutton. Sutton's got plenty of time and space. Pretty much straight into the breadbasket of Troy. So a rare occurrence of Balmain losing their structure there. For an experienced, disciplined team, they had a few too many bodies driving at the same time. And Connor Martin making an absolute nuisance of himself at centre back here. All over young Flynn Vish. Uni forced to drive a second centre forward. That's Thomas Whalen in a decent position, but Turner unable to regather the ball. And now Sutton for Balmain back in zone, and easily picks that like a dirty nose. Frustrated head shake from Turner there. He knew that that was an average pass, but possibly also frustrated he couldn't get the ball in earlier. Sutton out top for Balmain. Godfrey's in at centre forward. We've got a drive from Martin. Young Vish's hands are down, but the offensive is called. against Nick Godfrey. The hook hold. So he was holding Scott Nicholson at centre back. And so Yarn now pushing down the sideline. This is what we like to see. The young fella kicking up a bit of a splash, swimming in hard towards the goals. Finish it off. It'll be nicely done. Unfortunately, not able to do it. He did a really good job. Swam in, managed to turn back inside Martin. And did wrap it around, but lost control of the ball at the last second, so there was no power to feed it in. But tapped out of goals by Clark, the referees say, which means it's a corner throw for Sydney University. Ball out top of Nicholson, over to Turner. We've got Ali Vish at centre forward. And he's marked up against Sutton, who's one of the lighter boys for Balmain, so able to get the ball in and a good shot, but once again, James Clark like a pterodactyl in goals, big wingspan. And University will have to go looking for a goal later on. Ball out top with Smith, over to Sutton. Waiting for Calpin to get to the deep wing. And then we're going to see another drive come through. Calpin sits up, nice cross-cage shot. He's already scored one from there today, which you don't usually expect from the right-hander during set play. And that time he finds the bar and it bounces out. So Russell Yarn steamrolling up the side. I'd love to see him back himself here again. Wait for that second drive coming through. There's the ball for Turner if he can get it in. He does so. Excellent play from the young Lion. Really good awareness, good patience. He had the break, kicked out, waited for that second drive to come through. And Ben Turner manages to spin ball side. Exclusion earned. Sydney University 6-on-5 attack. Ball out top to Whalen. Whalen. That was an outside, very soft shot by Whalen. It looked like it might have been tapped in by Clark. Referees didn't call it, and then there was a big scramble from Turner. Looks like they're saying it's a 5 metre, possibly on James Clark for taking the ball under. And once again, Sydney University sent up to the pitcher's plate. A little bit of confusion about who was going to take that shot there. No one's been successful so far, so maybe a few nerves creeping in. And young Russell Yarn steps up. Jim Clark back off the goals again. That's the 5th time he's been warned today. And you love to see it. Well done from the young fella. He's been swimming hard, he's been dangerous, and he's just scored against a former Olympian who is not too long out of his prime. Ali Vish couldn't do it, Scott Nicholson couldn't do it, but Russell Yarn gets the Sydney University Lions on the board for the first time today. It's 5-1 lead, and it's all Balmain's way today. But starting to see a bit more movement from Sydney Uni, trying to drive things out, and you will expect the bigger bodies of Balmain start to get a bit fatigued as the game goes on. Gavin Woods at centre forward. It's a tough ask for Noah Hale at centre back, so he's called a zone, which has resulted in Balmain driving. They've got 3 people pretty much on top of Gavin Woods there, which is too many. And a really interesting decision there. Chris Grono, experienced player, plays it to deep wing with only a second to go. He had a right-hander down there, which means cut down the angle of the shot and wasted opportunity there. That's Hamilton Ward, number 4, trying to force the cross pass over the top of the defenders. We had Reef Potter steaming through, but maybe underestimated the long levers of Joel Davis, and he's batted down, regathered Balmain, and now they send themselves back up. So Gavin Woods in at centre forward. Got Grono sitting out top, nice little look away into Woods, and just perfect example of experience, patience and awareness there. Grono looked to dummy back out top to Davis, saw that Gavin Woods had a smidgen of room and snuck a look away pass in. That was too much. Woods able to turn, put it in the back of the net. Balmain 6-1. James Young with the ball now. Plenty of space there. Doesn't want a wall of arms and James Clark to get through. Can be quite intimidating. Hamilton Ward, big long cross pass over the top to Karsk. He needed to throw it earlier. Karsk tries to throw a lob over the top. Absolutely no concerns for Clark. And with that, the whistle goes. Half time. It's Balmain well and truly in control, 6-1. I'm getting a few looks from some of the Balmain boys. They look tired. Nick Godfrey down there, huffing and puffing like he's about to blow my house down. And we mentioned it first quarter, that's what Sydney Uni are going to have to do. They're going to have to move. They're going to be out-muscled. There's a big weight difference between most of these players. Sydney University don't have probably their most reliable centre forward with Jeremy Davey being out. What they do have is a handful of young guns who look trim and fit. And we saw it starting to pay off a little bit there with some good counter-attacks down the right-hand side. That's going to be the key to opening up this game. They've got to move more, see if they can earn some exclusions, and most critically, put away some of those penalties. They've had 4, they've converted 1. We've got about a minute and a half to go with the halftime break, and we'll reconnect as we get closer to the third quarter. Fans to the second half of this men's third grade gold medal match between Sydney University Lions and the Balmain Tigers. My name is Nick Watkins. I am your sole commentator for today. My usual partner in crime, Gaither, is playing Super League finals for Colour at the moment, so you're stuck with one man's opinions and pretty poor Kermit the Frog impression. I do have lovely daycare germs that my 2-year-old brought home this week. If you can put up with that and my helium-filled voice, then you're in for a masterclass of water polo today. Both teams got plenty of experience. Several Olympians scattered across the board, and even more Australian representatives or National League caps on display. Balmain have been in complete control for the first half, up 6-1, largely due to the fact that Sydney University is struggling to take control of the middle of the pool when they're attacked. Usual centre forward, Jeremy Davies, enjoying the birth of his first child this week. And so a lot of the attacking play for the Lions is breaking down from there. This Balmain team is very formidable. They've only lost 1 game this season and possibly 1 or 2 in the last couple of years. As you look in the middle of the pool, you've got Gavin Woods, 4-time Olympian, up against Scott Nicholson, former Australian representative in the juniors and coach of the Sydney Uni Women's National team. A dribbly pass in from Connor Martin. He apologises. He knew it wasn't the best pass in, and as a result, his team's forced to cover. The ball comes around out top to Hamilton Ward at the moment. Long left-hander. Moves the ball back around to the right-hand wing. There's a bit of crowd happening in centre forward for Sydney Uni. Looks like they're trying to play a double centre, and it's worked out for them quite well. Big splash there from Reef Potter. I'm not too pleased about being put to the bottom by Matt Saville. And interception by Connor Martin. But he's called for ball under. He's having a bit of a chat with the refs. Not quite sure what we're discussing. But the Lions will get another 10 seconds of extra attack. Quick shot off the hand there. I think that was Scott Nicholson through that. That's what you're going to have to do to get past Clark in goals. Very little chance of sitting up top, having a number of balks, letting the defence settle, and Clarkey get his eye in. So you've got to move it quick, offset, try and get that shot off the hand down the line. That time not working for Nicholson. That's what you want to see. Big Gavin Woods having a balk from out top. Probably happened 3 times in his career, and it did not look natural. But it was enjoyable to watch nonetheless. Sydney Uni, quick counter-attack here. Get the ball deep wing. Hamilton Ward sits up, looks across the centre forward. And that's a lovely goal there. Really well worked by Reef Potter. Saville got caught out at centre back. He's definitely not the biggest player for Balmain. He tried to show 2 hands, no foul, hoping that that crash back defence would be there in time. But Reef Potter doing an excellent job, out-muscling Saville, reaching for the ball, sitting up strong and bearing it past Clark in goals. Balmain is still up 4-2. And the only game they've lost this year was to Sydney University. So it's not out of the question, but we're going to have to see a few things change on behalf of the Lions if this is going to eventuate somewhere. As Calpin and Young get into a bit of a grappling match on the perimeter, and Nick Godfrey driving back Scott Nicholson at centre forward, forcing the Sydney University Lions to play a zone. Joel Davis out top. He's a long-standing centre forward, multiple National League caps, Australian caps as well. It squeezes the ball into Godfrey at centre forward. No one knows how to pass to a centre like a centre. Ball back out top to Davis. Looks for a cheeky quick pass in. Manages to find Martin on the outside. But the goalie's best friend, the cage, comes into play, ricochet. And Choi pushes it up the side of the field. This is young Russell Yarn. He's already scored a good 5 metre against Clark before, and he's been pretty dangerous in drives. Like Godfrey able to position his big frame between him and the goals, and it's an ordinary foul. Davis now out-muscling Reef Potter at centre forward. But we've got an exclusion called on number 5 at the moment. So that's Stephen Smith excluded around the perimeter. The referee signalled duck diving, possibly looking to go underwater, take an advantage. We're not quite sure. I don't have the replay in front of me as the ball goes to Yarn. Ewan, lovely pass over the top to Reef Potter. So that's great awareness. I'm very impressed with this young number 12, Russell Ewan. Situation you probably find a lot of young players choosing to shoot, extra man, you've moved in, you've got a lot of space, pretty close to the goals, but the young fella was patient, saw Reef Potter coming out from the post and chose to throw a little pop over the top, and now we're back within 3. Sydney University showing that Balmain can indeed bleed, and James Clark just having a bit of a breather, hanging onto his cage now. Pretty hard to rattle James Clark, and he doesn't mind throwing a bit of cheeky lip at his opposition, so he won't be too bothered, and there's still plenty of breathing room for the Tigers as they look to feed the ball in. Calpin playing centre forward, Martin driving behind Turner on the far side, all out top at the moment. Skied absolutely over the top. That was Sutton. Uni have a small break here if they're able to release for the ball, but still losing a little bit of structure. Turner released first. No one on that deep wing. Waylon Turner. Karska's in at centre forward, looking to move it between Turner. Turner passes it back out to Vish, back to Turner. The movement was good. Neither Turner nor Vish looked like they wanted to shoot. They kept moving it between themselves. And as we've said a couple of times, if you're not going to shoot off the hand, it's pretty hard to get it past Clark in the end. All to no avail. We've now got Wallenkamp in at centre forward. There was a little pass over the top by Sutton and plenty of front water for Wallenkamp, but referees said number 11 for Balmain was holding. So offensive turnover called, so the ball moves up with Turner. He does have space, but he's going to slow things down a little bit. No point rushing that counter-attack. And Turner follows the ball in. Gets front water, but regular foul called. Turner's looking at the referee, a little bit confused. He thought he had front and there would be an exclusion called. And he rushes the pass in to Calpin there. Oh, apologies, Cask. Probably a little bit of frustration and impatience coming from Turner. There was quite a few centre defenders. Big long cross pass over the top to Vish, but Vish can't hang on to it. It's the third time we've seen that happen for some of the more experienced players on Sydney Uni. Long cross pass, tipping the fingers, and then bouncing away harmlessly. And it happens. Plenty of experience, a lot of knowledge, but less opportunity to train, and the body slows down as father time comes. And maybe some of the softer skills, the more delicate touches disappearing as there's 5 seconds left. A nice little cross pass. Does a great job, James Falzon. Over to Connor Martin. Falzon had kicked himself almost back to halfway, but he's been around the block too. Saw Martin driving in from the side. Quick pass, cross cage shot, bar in. So Martin swings himself to the sideline and has a slow walk back to the bench as he sucks it in, and subs coming in from both teams. That should take us to 7-3. The scoreboard currently says 6-3 at the pool, but I believe that's 7-3 up for Balmain. It's James Young floating on the ball out top, waiting for his team to get settled. We've got Cask trying to sit centre forward at the moment, picked up by Grono. And Cask is facing a particular way. The ball's stuck on the far side. Whalen sees it, has to move it across to Vish, but another pass goes astray. And it's pished off by Falzon. And Whalen apologising to Vish there. Sorry, mate. He knew that the pass wasn't great and possible wasted opportunity. They did well to move it back around to the side that Cask was facing. Just as Balmain have done well here to get it to Calpin, knowing that Gavin Woods is facing up that side of the pool. Ball out to Saville. He scored 2 already. And he tries to pick another one, but Thomas Whalen saw that coming, zoned back a little bit to help cross cage, blocks it out of the pool. Ball with Turner, middle of the field. Sydney University not quite structured here. Vish pulled the ball around, gets the ball into Cask. That's good awareness. But Cask turning the wrong way. He had Grono at centre back and Saville's zone defence. And unfortunately for him, turned directly into one of the defenders. So no foul called. And Balmain's ball once again. Gavin Woods centre back, centre forward. Got young Fling Vish at centre back. This will be an absolute mountain if you can move him. Ball out top to Saville. Saville looking for Woods. But James Young saw that coming a mile off. Started zoning back before Saville had even thrown it in. Taps it back to Choi. Goals. University pushing up. So University done pretty well to keep Balmain quiet this quarter. Just unable to convert, and this might be their opportunity. Beautiful. Turner to Young. Let's throw back to National League days 2008. Really good awareness from Turner, seeing Young opening up in the middle of the field. Young wasting no time, shooting off the hand, squeezing it past Clark. Some more subs coming on, both teams. Connor Martin's back on for Balmain. Scott Nicholson back on for Sydney Uni. So both teams getting some of their more experienced players on the pool. There's only 40 seconds left of this third quarter. Deficit back down to 2. Joel Davis kicks well back into his own half. Ball to Martin. Martin will be looking to slow things down now. They've got one full attack. They can burn most of the clock here and probably look for a late pass to centre forward or an outside shot so long as they're covered. Ball comes into Woods. Woods manages to flick it away despite Fish dropping back on him. And that's a wonderful shot from James Falzon there. Wrapping around Scott Nicholson. Scott Nicholson grimacing a little bit. He knows that that's on him. It's an unfair ask of Asher Choi in goals to be able to defend that down the line. And Falzon showing his own experience. It's a great shot to wrap around the block with Nicholson. And takes that lead back out 8-4. Ball with Turner out top. There is a bit of space in centre forward, but chooses not to play it. It looked like there was a bit of incidental contact with the face there, as Falzon and a bit of confusion from both teams towards the end. And a small apology from Falzon. He thinks he might have accidentally got Vish in the face. Referees didn't see it. Nothing was called. Play on. That wraps up the third quarter of the gold medal match. Water Polo New South Wales men's third grade. Sydney University Lions versus Balmain Tigers. And Balmain still in control. University would be happy that they have managed to get on the scoreboard. And they are starting to look a little bit more threatening as some of these bigger bodies in Balmain side get fatigued. The University able to throw a lot more drives into the mix. Got just over a minute to go in this break and we'll reconnect as we get underway for the fourth quarter. Welcome back to the fourth and final quarter of today's gold medal match for the men's third grade competition. Sydney University Lions versus Balmain Tigers. My name is Nick Watkins. I'm your sole lonely commentator today. And I appreciate your viewership and patience. Usually I do have a partner with me who, to be honest, does most of the work and carries me through this, but she's prepping for Super League semi-finals today, so I'm on my own. I've had 2 games previously here at Ryde Aquatic Centre on this stormy Saturday afternoon, have gone to penalty shootout. However, this match not threatening to do so just yet, with Balmain pretty comfortably in control of the game. It's always a big ask of any team, regardless of the experience they've got, to get a few past James Clark in goals, the former Australian Olympian. But Sydney Uni have managed to do it 4 times today, and hopefully for them they will be able to slot a couple more in. The ball's out top with Joel Davis, looking at Nick Godfrey in at centre forward. We've got a cross cage drive here from Smith, but nothing doing. Called inside the 2 is Godfrey, so that's pretty good work there from young Noah Hale, luring him back in. And we've had a midfield exclusion earned and a timeout called by Sydney University. Just waiting to confirm who the exclusion was on. Looks like it's Joel Davis, number 9 for Balmain. And you're bound to see it in transition, some of these bigger boys getting tired, heavy hands. And I think James Young was the one that earned it. Either genuinely tangled or a very good actor, submitting his nomination for the Oscars. But the result's the same. Davis in the bin, 18 seconds, University's timeout as they go in the 6-on-5 attack. What's going to be critical here is their passes. Sydney University have thrown a number that have clipped the fingertips and gone astray. And we've been seeing it from some of their more experienced players as well. Scott Nicholson, Ben Turner, Ali Vish. So they're wanting to tighten up that passing, absolutely instrumental to getting it past this Balmain defence. We'll wait and see where everyone gets set up before we guess where it's coming from. They'll have Turner on the right-hand side, which is the perfect position for the left-handers. And the ball out top now for Phoenix Irvine. Down to Turner, takes it in. So they're offsetting to the right, which means that they're either bringing on the 2 posts, which is your number 10, or Ali Vish on the wing. Ali Vish is staying deep. So you anticipate that they're probably trying to bring on post here. And Reef Potter is getting a little bit free in the middle. He's got some space. But called inside the 2. Again, not quite sure who that was called on. Looks like Ben Turner. He's sitting there and having a conversation with the referee, not covering. Ian Calpin calls for the ball, sends Smith back. Slow down, guys. We're not in a rush. So, frustrating for Turner. The rules have changed a fair bit since he was probably last in a competitive cap. And we've got an exclusion now called against number 10, Reef Potter for Sydney University. Sydney Uni thought it was going to go the other way, but Reef wrapped around the neck of Nick Godfrey. Martin with the ball out wide. Big long cross pass over the top. Falzon with the ball back over to Martin. Post is on if they can get it. Little bit of a ricochet, 1 second left. Falzon skies it straight over the top. Thought he was playing Quidditch. And well left by Choi. Ball back in for Reef Potter, who's swimming up the side of the pool. No centre forward for Uni at the moment. So Vish needs to work himself in. Ball goes back out top to Young. He's scored once from outside off a quick pass from Turner. Might try and replicate this again. He's got plenty of time and space, but it's not what you want to be doing shooting against Clark and a wall of defenders. So he waits patiently. And Vish earns an exclusion on Sutton. Let's see if Uni can try and fix what they were doing last time, not get caught inside. That's Turner out top now, out to Young. Plenty of space, plenty of time, no one's moving. Back to Turner, Turner slides in, has a shot, crossbar down, regathered by Calpin from Balmain. So not a lot of movement there from Sydney University. It really only got stuck between two players. And as a result, the defence didn't shift. And relatively easy for them. They are calling a flying sub. So Gavin Wood's coming on now, which means that Balmain will be down in attack 6 on 5 until he can get up there. Clock on 5 seconds, so they'll try and wind this down, probably dump it or have a last minute shot. This will be nice to see. Gavin Wood's a big long outside shot. Doesn't trust his rotator cuff, tries to feed it into Martin. Martin doesn't get away with it. Now there's a big counter attack here. This is Hamilton Ward. Hamilton Ward sits up against Clark, moves inside. And unfortunate there. He did a good job to kick back in front of Gavin Woods, thinking that if he missed, it might be a 5 metre, but good heads up play from Falzon there, putting himself between the attacker and the goal. And Joel Davis, half in a cherry pick, half in a counter attack. Absolutely slams it past Choi. So tough one for Hamilton Ward, but looks like a young pup and a great opportunity to play against such experienced competitors. Did have front water, did do a good job to kick in front of Woods. Unfortunately just missed out on that extra defender sliding back. If you're wondering what happened there, why it wasn't a penalty, the rule is essentially you need to have front water between you and the goal. And in that instance, Falzon managed to put himself between the goal and the attacking player, even if it did look a little bit from the side. So it didn't eventuate to anything. Whalen out top for City Uni, plays to Nicholson. Back out to Whalen. Reef Potter's in at centre forward. He's doing relatively well, forcing a zone. Russell Ewan gets the ball in and then earns the exclusion. Well done. Well done from the two young men. Joel Davis sent to the bin. I think that's his second for the game. Keep an eye on the table in case they signal third. Great cross pass and Scott Nicholson scores. And I've seen that face many times. He's fired up. Possibly somewhat frustrated with some of his earlier plays, so he's pumped to get that one through. And he'll be happy with that young cross pass. I believe that was from number 11, Noah Hale. So good awareness from Hale to get that across the face of the goals, and good finish from Scott Nicholson. Still 4-goal deficit, which is essentially what we saw in the first quarter, which meant Sydney Uni have done a pretty good job to keep pace, but that initial blowout a little bit too hard to mow down, and table have just confirmed that Joel Davis is out on 3. So he'll be sitting on the bench for the next 3 minutes, 30 seconds. But he'll be pretty comfortable that his efforts and his team's efforts have done enough to secure this win. 4 goals in 3 minutes when you've only scored 5 in the whole game is a big ask. But something like this could do it. That was great awareness there. Noah Hale once again. Russell Ewan sits up, drives in, hit pretty hard by Connor Martin, apologies. I was commentating Connor Davis reffing last night. Too many Connors. And a timeout's been called by Sydney University. So Martin sent to the bin. He almost snapped the young Sydney Uni Russell Yarn in half. Fair bit of a weight discrepancy there, but a good drive from the young player. He's been busy in attack. And despite being 4 goals down, still hasn't given up. Timeout's been called. Sydney University have got a relatively experienced team on now. You've got Vish, Turner, Nicholson, Whalen. And then from the young ones, Potter, who's played quite well. Russell Yuan. And Noah Hale, who helped steal that ball. Ali Vish is going to be sitting on the 1 position. So if you're new to the positions in water polo, facing the goals, the left wing is 1, and then going clockwise. We've got the post is 2, the other post is 3, the right wing is 4. Out top on the right is 5, out top on the left is 6. So number 5 for Sydney Uni, Ali Vish, he's going into number 1. You'd expect that Ben Turner's going to take the ball in, they're going to offset out that way. Looks like Reef Potter sitting on that 3 post, and he earns himself an exclusion. That was pretty blatant. You've got Chris Grono all up in his grill, grabbing him. Now Uni are up 2 players. This can actually be a detriment for the attacking team. You often see more experienced teams choosing to sit one of their players out and playing a 5-on-4. It just makes it a little bit easier to move the defence, otherwise they can sit crash back. But they do well to move the ball. They get it in perfectly to Potter, and he pulls out a bit of magic, gets it past Clark, and brings that deficit down to 3. Still 3 minutes to go. And wondering if the wheels for the Balmain team are starting to get a little bit shaky. We've got a few players on foul trouble, and Joel Davis out for the game. So Saville rejoins his teammates for Balmain. Ball out top with Martin. Martin over to Calpin, sending Saville down to the deep wing. They've got Gavin Woods at centre forward, currently marked by Whalen. They would have had a fair bit to do with each other over the years in both National League and the National Cup. And Whalen using Woods' weight to throw him around. The ball comes in. Woods saw the crash back coming, so flicks it out to Saville. There's only 3 seconds left. And he throws it over the top. Saville has managed to pull off a few outside screamers today, but unable to do so there. Ball back with Choi in goals for the University. Ball out top to Nicholson. Looking to bring on a second centre forward. Turner's out on the wing there. Whalen was trying to take Woods in, which I think was a bit optimistic, so he kicks back out. Slightly nothing past to Nicholson, but he's rewarded with an ordinary foul, so they've still got possession. There's 10 seconds left. They've got a bit of time. Ball out to Turner. He'll try and play Potter here, I think. But a great piece of defence from Martin. That's excellent play. He came up with both arms before the ball was in, but it did look like he might have pulled Potter back slightly, so as Potter's gone to push in, Martin's used his momentum to come around, flick the ball out, and that's a really, really good play from a really experienced player. Gavin Wood, centre forward, Thomas Whalen, centre back. 8 seconds to go. Calpin's going to be looking for the centre forward here. Gets a nice ball into Woods. Ordinary foul called. 3 seconds left. Big cross pass. Saville manages to shoot that off the hand. Asher Choi did get his hand to it. It looked like he caught it in a glove like a baseball and then bobbled it. And unlucky for the young goalkeeper. He's a little bit frustrated himself. But it was good movement by Balmain. It's really hard for the goalkeeper and the defence if the ball's going from one side of the pool to the other. It's a lot of territory to cover. And Choi did do a good job to get over there. Just couldn't pull it down when it counted. Ball out top with Nicholson in his own half. Wallenkamp marking Nicholson. Ball deep wing, looking to get it into the centre forward. That was a very lovely pass. Didn't deserve to go in. Calpin had done a pretty good job holding front water against Potter, but the ball from Phoenix Irvine skimmed across the goal face, regathered by Potter. And University now with the ball. Cask with the ball out top, looking for Turner. Turner looking to play the drive to Nicholson, but fouled heavy by Saville, unable to get rid of it. Sits up, moves it to Cask. Cask drops it. Irvine tries to throw a pass over the top there to his teammate in Potter. Potter unable to get control, tried to tap it on, sort of went up into no man's land, and Balmain regathers. We've got 1:04 to go. Balmain are up 10-6. Long pass from Calpin. Down to Connor Martin. They've been doing it for years. And Martin able to create a bit too much space from Ben Turner. Sits up, buries it cross cage. And that pretty much sums up the game today. The big bodies from the Balmain Tigers. Too much for the Sydney University Lions to overcome. It's been hard for Uni without a dedicated centre forward. And even if they did, it still would have been a monstrous challenge. A fair bit of experience, size and strength on Balmain. As Turner's fouled out top now. Still no centre forward, passes out to Nicholson. There's a lot of whitewash in the middle. And some pretty heavy play going on there. Ball out to Turner. Nick Godfrey's at centre back. Up against Potter. Potter's pushed out to the side. Ball back to Scott Nicholson. Nicholson bobbles the ball. He wanted to shoot that. And he throws a little lobby pass over the top. Catches Calpin off guard. And 5 metre awarded. It's a good drive by James Young. Haven't called his name a lot, but he's definitely been noticeable. And that's just a bit of experience coming into play. Potter's going to step up, take this shot. And he squeezes it past James Clark. Came out of the pool like Christ the Redeemer did Clarkie. But despite saving 3 of those in the first half, young Potter manages to get that one through. And we're back to 11-7 with 40 seconds to go in the 3rd grade grand final. Potter fouling Calpin out top, not giving up. The young line, big long ball comes in. James Young, not too happy with that call. He said he had his hands up. He did have his hands up, but he also had his elbow down. And despite the experience, you can have your hands up, but if your body's all over them, you're still going to get excluded. And so Balmain able to capitalise on it. To be honest, I don't think the call would have made a difference too far either way, so possibly a bit of frustration kicking in for Young. It wouldn't have made or break the game, but Potter sitting up, gets the ball down to Turner. Nicholson drove, but drove the far side, so now Potter's driving, but there's absolutely no space for Turner to get the ball in. He does so anyway. And Godfrey is going to be excluded for the remainder of the game. That's 15 seconds left, so Uni will have one chance to convert now. Bring it back to a 4-goal deficit, which is what it's been since the first quarter. And Ben Turner wraps it around, gets it in the back of the net. Looks like James Clark in goals was already thinking about what he was having for dinner. And his bench letting him know about it too. 8 seconds left, 12-4 to Balmain. Clark is going to run the clock down and maybe test his arm, so long as his rotator cuff doesn't tear off. He's thrown the world's tallest lob, but doesn't even make it to the goals. And with that, Balmain Tigers take the gold medal for the 2025-26 season in men's 3rd grade. If you've managed to sit through that whole thing and you've enjoyed what you've heard, make sure you let Water Polo New South Wales know. If you didn't like it, let them know anyway. I'm always open to feedback. My name's Nick Watkins, and we'll see you next time.